So this session we're going to discuss about the concept of the templates. Okay. So these templates are called as an editable templates. So basically, so whenever we are creating the templates, so in the AEM we have two types of templates. So in AEM, so we have templates. So templates are nothing but the markups to create the page name. Templates are the markups to create a page in AEM. So with the help of templates only, you can create a page in AEM within seconds. Okay. So if you are going for a normal page, so it takes more time. So to create a page in AEM, templates are the way to create a page in AEM. So these templates are of two types. Okay. So first one is an static template. So first one is a static template, and second one is an editable template. Okay. So we call that as editable template, or so we can call them as editable template, or we can call them as dynamic template. Okay, so editable or dynamic template we call them as. So mostly we will be using this static. We will be using the editable and the dynamic template only. So static templates will be not used. Okay, so in any of the cases, so we'll be not using the static templates. So when you are creating a page in the AM, so we'll be using only the editable templates. But static templates is also one of the feature. So we'll be not anyone will not implement it in any project. So they will be not implementing the static template because due to the functionalities of the editable template. So all the programs, all the pages will only implement this editable template. So we'll discuss the editable template today. Okay. So this is also called as a dynamic template, but the dynamic template is the old name. Okay. Dynamic templates is the old name and editable template is a new name. Call it as editable templates only. Okay. So call it as editable templates only. So this editable templates can be useful to create the pages. Okay. So simply we have already created the pages by using the site console and by using the content page template. So while creating a page from the sites console, template is mandatory. Okay, template is mandatory while creating the page in AEM. Okay, so without the template, we cannot create a page in the Science console. So if you are a developer and if you are have the okay, so if you are a developer and if you have the access to the CRXT, so manually create the CQ column page notes and we can create the properties. That is possible, but creation of these notes manually there is no need because we can create by using the site console. So within seconds only, but if you create manually a page by using CRXT node structure, it will take it will take in minutes. It will take 5 to 10 minutes. But by using the sites console, you can easily create one page. Okay, so within seconds we can create a page using the sites console. So here, editable templates is a blueprint of a web page. Okay, so first one is it is a blueprint of the web page. Web page. So it is okay. So this can be used to create web pages from the sites console. So without the template, we cannot okay. So without the template, we cannot create a web page in the sites console. Okay, so this acts as a blueprint to create a page, and with the help of this blueprint only, we can create a web page from the sites console. Okay, so how to create these blueprints? Okay, so who's responsible to create the template? Or who's responsible is to create the template? Or how to create the template area? Okay, so the template we can create four different steps. We can create the template. Okay, so four different steps we can create the template. So in the first step, we'll create one component. Okay, so we'll create one component in the first step. So component name is so we'll create one name. So first we need to create one component in the so first the step is to create a component. Okay, so the component name is so apps news portal and article page is a component. Okay, so article page is one component and apps news portal components and article hyphen page is a component. But the first step is an optional step because we have a default page component is already available. So if you open apps news portal components, there is a default component is available, that is page component. So we can utilize these components and we can create the page. So by default the component is available in your apps folder. So go to apps and then December is my project. So inside this December project components, so we have one default page component, that is This is the default page component. So by using this page component also, we can create a by using this page component also, we can create a page name. So why we are using the component? So as I said before, so everything in order to create an alien, so components are the basic structure. So components are designed to create everything in the alien. Okay, so with the help of the component only, with the help of the components only, you can create the pages in alien. Okay, so you can utilize the page component, you can create the template type and the template. But sometimes, if the customizations are required at the page level, so then we have to implement our own page component. Okay, then we have to implement our own page component. So for the practice purpose, we are going to create our own page component only by simply copying pasting the V3 page component. So I'll create an article page component. So but every page component must extend the out of the box V3 page component. It should extend. Okay. So out of box V3 page component, it should extend. So this component will be available in the libs folder. Libs means library. Okay. So in the libs, all this out of the box component will be available by default. AM installations. So this component should be available. So this is implemented by the Adobe. This is one of the out-of-the-box component. So our page components must extend the out-of-the-box component by using the Sling Resource Super Type property. Okay, so by using the Sling Resource Type property, so now it should extend the properties. Sling Resource Super Type is one property, so which is used to extend one component for the other component. Okay, so V3 is one of the page component. We are extending the out-of-the-box component with the help of the article page component. So this is the custom component. Okay, so this is the custom component. Okay, so this is the first step, but is optional step. Okay, so first step is optional. Either we can use the existing page component or else we can create our own page component. Okay, so the second step is to create the template type creation. Okay, so template type creation. So this is the second step. So one template, one component will have the multiple template types. Multiple template types, one component can have. So by using this article page component, so I have created the article template type and the content page template type. Okay, so two template types we have created. So this is the second step. But by using one template type, we have to create so in order to have a custom component, okay. So for example, article hyphen page is a custom page component. Okay, so in this case, at least one template type we have to create. So by default, all the template types will store in sudo conf folder. Okay, so by default, they will be stored inside this conf folder. So so far we have checking apps and the content folder. Okay, so we are seeing the conf folder now. Okay, so conf is a folder. All the templates and the template level configurations will store in the conf folder only. Okay, in the conf folder only they will store. So this is the third important step. Okay, so we have seen. Okay, so that is about the template types. Okay, so with the help of the template types only, you can store. So inside the okay, so inside the content folder, so you'll be having the pages, but the pages details will be stored inside this conf folder. Okay, so conf folder is the default location to store the templates. Okay, so this is the location conf news portal settings WCM and template types. Okay, so template hyphen types. This is the default location. So as we discussed, the first step is an optional step, right? So if we create one custom page component, you must implement the template type also. Okay, so template type also optional, but it is a mandatory if we create one custom page component. Okay, if you use an existing page component, you can the template type also optional. Okay, so even template types also optional, which we are using the existing page. These template types are useful to connect with the page component. These template types will be useful to connect with the page component. So that's why we have to use this template types. We have to require for every custom component. So here article hyphen page is one custom component. To this custom component, so to this custom component, you have to implement the template hyphen types. So we have to implement the article hyphen page is one article hyphen page template type we have to add. So this is the default structure of the template. Okay. So this is the default structure of the template. So this is the default structure of the template. And in this template, there are two important nodes are available. One is initial. So under initial JCR content, there is a property called Sling Resource Type property. Okay, value of the Sling Resource Type property is a page component. Newly created page component is the value of the Sling colon resource type property. Okay, so this is the newly created page because the template types are useful to connect the component. So here is the property under initial, under template types, initial JCR content. In the JCR contents, link resource type property is available. So value is article page component path. So news portal components and article hyphen page is the component. So that is the path. And there is one more node called as the JCR content parallel to the initial JCR content node is available. So here you have to update the JCR title value. Okay. And then there is one more node called the structure node. So under structure also JCR content is available. Under the JCR content, so link column resource type property is available and update this value. Okay. So update this value. So that is link column resource type property of your component. So while creating template types, three different properties we have to update. So and one is initial JCR content property we have to update, and second one is under structure JCR content string resource type property. So these two properties must be pointing towards the newly created page component. Or newly created page component there should be pointed. And one property is also added under the JCR content. Under the JCR content, JCR title is equals to article template types is the title. Okay, article template types is the title, but this template type is creation is optional if you are using out of the box component. If you are using a default page component, because by default there is a template types to create the template. But if you create a new page component, if you create a new page component, this new page component will create only if any customizations are required. If any customizations are required, so in that case only you'll create this page component. Otherwise, there is no need to create the custom page component. We can use the default page component from the app's new portal hyphen page. Okay, so the first two steps are the optional. Okay, so page component creation and the template type creation, these two are the optional steps. These two are the optional steps. So if any customizations are required, for example, custom page properties are required. Custom page properties are required. In that case, we have to create the custom page component. Okay, so custom page component is required and custom template type is also required. So from this template type, we'll create the templates. Okay, so first two steps are the developer responsibility, creation of the page component and creation of the template type. Either these two are the developer responsibility. The third step, okay, so the third step is the developer or the content owners can take care. Even content owners also we can create the templates. Okay, so there is a dependency. If there are template types are while creating the template, we have to select the template types. Okay, so all are dependent step only. So first we have to create the page component. By using the page component, we can create the template type. By using this template type, we can create the templates. So by using templates, you can create the pages. Okay, so from one page component, we can create multiple template types. So from one template type, we can create multiple templates. So from one template, we can create multiple pages. Okay, so there is no limit. Okay, so from one thing you can get n number of pages. So from one template. Okay, so that is about the template creation, and then by using the templates you can create the pages. So let's execute these steps one by step. Okay, so first step is we'll create a page component. Okay, so create a page component. Second step is to create a template type. Okay, create a template type and update this value. Update this value. Okay, so JCR content and then structure JCR content and then JCR content properties. Okay, and then create a template type and then create a page by using the newly created template. Okay, so let's execute these steps one by one. Okay, so in the first step, we have to create template. So first step, we have to create the component. Okay, okay, so first step is to create the component. Okay, so go to your project. So December is my project. In the December, so here we have the options of component. Okay, so inside this component, so first we have to create your default page component. Okay, so by default there is a default page component is available. So with the help of the default component, okay, so this component is available. So this is the default component under apps, news under apps December project. So page component is a default page component and page is the default component and it is extending out of the box v3 page v2 page component by using the sling resource type property. So simply copy paste this page component. Okay, and then create your custom article page page component. Okay, so simply come here and then copy paste the same component. So here the options of paste is not available. So try to again copy it. Okay, so this is the first step. Copy paste the page component again and then rename the component name to article refund page. Article 5 page and update this value here. So go to the JSON to here and refresh this one. Okay, so update the value of the JCR column title. Okay, so update the value. So we can say it's December. Yes, this December page component. Update the value to the December page component. Okay. So now we have created, now we have given the JCR title and then string resource type is the core WCM. So all the page component groups are hidden only. Why? Because so we can't. So why? Because why it is hidden? Because so we can't drag and drop this component in the other pages. Okay. So that's why you have to use the dot hidden. The purpose of these pages are create to create the template types. Okay. So we don't tag. So we don't will not drag and drop the components inside another pages. Okay, so by default, the component group is dot hidden only. The first step is completed. We have successfully created one page component, and the component name is article file one page, and then implementation. Okay, so this is the same implementation we are using. Suppose if you want to give any custom implementation, so at that time you can specify the custom implementations here. Okay, so by using the swing resource property, and then we are using the client clips. So again, if you want to specify, this is basically about the responsive group. Okay, so when you make some changes, so it should be responsive to the tablet or when you're seeing in the mobile screen. Okay, so this is about the responsive grid. So we can use the responsive grid here. Okay, so first step is the completed. Okay, so we have created the custom page component. So go to the second step. The second step is to create the template type under the conf project. Okay, so conf December project. This is conf December project settings and then WCM. Okay, so this is the default location to maintain the template types. Okay, so go to this location. So that is copy paste the existing template type. Okay. So, okay. So copy paste the existing template type. So copy paste the existing template type. So page is one code. Okay. So copy paste the existing template type. So copy the page component here. Okay. So go here. Then copy paste the existing template type. So copy the template types. So inside the template types, okay, so these are the page template which is already available. The page template is already available. So I'm just pasting it again and then I'm renaming it from article article page here. Okay, so just make the article page JCR type. Okay, so once you got this article page JCR template type, so now I want to add the okay. So now what we have created, so we have created the template type. So from this template types, you can create the page. Okay, so now we have to change some properties that is link column resource type property we have to change. Okay, so we have to change the second column. Okay, so but one common mistake from the beginners. So while updating the link resource type property, so by default any space is added, any additional space is added. Okay, so or but any space is added or any okay, so if any space is there or if any typo error is there, so at that time it will not implement the correct one. Okay, so try to copy paste the component path and then just copy paste the component path. So what is my component? So article page is my component. So go to your component. So and then listen the project components and copy the path, except the apps folder slash app slash select the remaining one. Okay, so select the copy this path and then go to your configuration and then go to your article file, article hyper page is the template type we have created. So expand initial and then JCR content. Okay, so and then update the slim resource type property. Okay, so don't add any additional spaces at the end of the value. So just click on outside and save the changes and explain the structure JCR content. So after the value, update the value here also. Okay, and update the JCR writing. So these changes are required. So when you create, when you call, so these changes are required, mandatory, these changes are required. So when you are creating the template here. Okay. So now the second step is also completed. Now the second step is also completed. So go to this location and then page. Okay. So after the initial JCR content and structure JCR content string resource type property to the article page content and update the title also. So there is one more JCR content between the initial and structure. So click on the JCR content and then update the JCR title value also. Okay. So now the template types creation is completed. So in the next step, so we have to create, okay. So by using this template types, we have to create the template. By using the article hyphen page template type, we have to create a template. So the template either or a developer or content authors are created, but content authors require the content edit permissions. Okay, so content authors require the content edit permission. Okay, so it is one property. So the permissions are required for the content author in order to create. If they are having the content admin permission, so they can create on the own. So either developers or content authors can create the third step here. Okay, so just go to the sites console. Okay, so go to welcome. So and then here you have the options of templates. Okay, click on tools and then general, select the templates. Okay, so templates option is available. So just select the templates. So select the project. So whatever the project you are using, so select the project. So what is my project here? So we can search December is my project. So click on the project. So these many templates are already available. Okay, so these many templates are already available. So other info, content page, web variation. Okay, so all these templates are already available. So by using these template types also, these are the template types. So multiple template types are already available. We are trying to build one more template. Okay, by using the create option. So click on create and now it is and select the template type. Okay, so select the template type. So here the template type is the article template. This is a newly created one. Okay, so article template type is a newly created one. So is this the one? So just go to the sites, just go to the CRHT. So article template type. So the, so get the page as article template type. So I'm trying to refresh this one. Okay. So now article template type we have created. So select this template type and click on next. So template name is article. Okay. So this is just configuration only. The new okay. So this is just a configuration only. So the new template has been created by using the existing template type, the newly created template type. So step three also completed. Okay, so under conf folder, under use folder, setting WCM. Okay, under templates, new template is created inside here. Okay, so try to refresh. So article template is one template which we have created. Okay, so explain this node. Okay, so set this separate location and then template type location completely different. Okay, so template types will be stored inside the template types and then okay, so template types will be stored inside the template types and then template will be stored under the templates. Okay, so article hyphen template is one which we have created. So this template we have created by using tools general template. Okay, so from the templates console, we have created these templates. So expand this template. Okay, so once you expand this template, okay, so whatever the structure you have here, okay, so this same node structure is generated. Okay, so expand the template type, the same node structure is generated. So template types are used to generate the required node structure for the templates. from the UI, if you want to create the template node structure, these template types are required. So what are the template types nodes are available? So the same nodes are regenerated inside this template. It will be useful to generate the page structure of the template. These template types are used to page structure of the template. So three steps are completed. Okay. So just to check. So if you have any questions on these three steps, yep. So these three steps are required here. Yeah. So the next step is very important. So before going to the page, okay, so before creating the page, so we have to configure some content in the template level. Okay, so in the template we have created, so before creating the pages, we have to configure some content in the template level. Okay, so next step is important. Before going to the next step, okay, so let me configure some content. So template is created successfully. So in the template is the article hyphen template we have created. Okay, so this is the template console. So go to the navigate to the template console. So go to the AM console. Okay, so it will go to the start screen or it will open this window tools, general, and then select the templates and select your project. Okay, so click on the templates and here you can see all the templates. Okay, so if you want to see physical in the JCR repository, so go to the same templates are available. So same templates are visible in this screen. Okay, so at that present, it is in the top state. Okay, so remaining all states, remaining all the templates are in the enable state. So if you want to use this template, okay, so we have to move it from tab state to enable state with the help of this enable option. Okay, so in order to use these templates, we have to enable this template. Okay, so just click on enable. Okay, so now the template is enabled. Okay, so click on edit. On edit, and the so when you click on edit, the edit template will open and the template editor. Okay, so it is similar to page editor only. Okay, so localhost 4502 editor.html and then conf December project settings, WCM template and article hyphen template. Okay, so this is the location of the template. Okay, so that will be the location of the template. So we have created the new template on this location, that is conf December project settings, WCM templates and article template. So inside this, okay, so inside this template, so every template, two pages are available. Okay, so by default in every template, two pages are available. One is structure and the initial node. Okay, so the type is page only. Okay, so the CQ page. So initial and structure, two pages are available. These are the configuration pages. So by default, every template when you open it, so it will open with the structure page. Okay, so structure.html file it will open. Okay, so see article hyphen template slash structure.html file. Okay, so by default, some components are available. Okay, so this is a default component. It was generated from from the page template type. Okay, so we have copy pasted it, right? So go to the template types. When you copy paste it, so under structure root, this default content is there. So just remove this default content. That's why this default content is entering. Okay, so now the default content is here. So try to refresh. Okay, so this is the template level. So this is okay, so there is no use of the template now. Okay, so now just go to a component, refresh your content. So in the structure mode, only one root container is available. So root is also one content node. Only one content, two content nodes are available. Root is a content node, so which is pointing towards the container component. Container is also one of the default component. Container is also one of the default component. It is available on the December project components and the container. Only one container is are available. The structure mode. Okay, so when I access this structure.html file, one container is requiring and root is the node name and the component is the container. At least one container we have to add. At least one container we have to add at the template level, because without this container we cannot add the component. Without adding the components we cannot generate the content. We cannot add the component. Okay, so at least one container is required. So you have to use the container. Okay, so this is the root container at the default container inside the structure. Okay, so this root container is the default container, and CQ responsive is nothing but the responsive group. Okay, suppose if you want to get that in a responsive format. Okay, so this responsive grid, okay, so it is getting in the help of the responsive grid. Okay, so that is the second node which we are having. So which will be available in the preview option. Right now we are in the structure, right? So there is no need of responsive grid. Okay, so the structure.html file. So by using this template editor, so this is displaying this. Okay, so basically it is executing this. So there are two important nodes are available. So one is initial and the content node and the structure node. Okay, so structure node and the initial content node, these two are the available. So these two are very important nodes. The purpose of the structure node is to define the common content. Okay, so article hyphen template is one template. So inside this template, structure is one node, structure is one node, and inside the JCR column content. Okay, so and then the structure of this, okay, so the purpose of the structure node is to define the common content. Okay, define the common content. Okay, okay, so as okay, so header and footer are the common content across multiple pages, right? So consider so header and footer are the common content in the multiple pages. Okay, so when you create the pages in the AM, so all the pages will by default be contain the header and the footer component. So by using these templates, so I'm creating some 5,000 pages. Consider if I'm using the 5,000 article pages using this template, we can create n number of article pages. We can generate n number of article pages. Let's assume 5,000 article pages are created. Okay, so let's assume 5,000 pages are created, but in all the pages, so first one is the article hyphen one is the one page. Okay, so these are the example pages only. Article one and article two are the example page. In the article one, header and footer is common. Okay, so header, so header, footer. Okay, so all okay, so header section and the footer section as a common content. Okay, so this is the common content is all the 5,000 article pages. So in this case, rather than defining the common content at the page level, so we can define that at the template level because all the 5,000 pages are used, 5,000 pages are created by using this template. Okay, so the same template we have to okay, so the same template we have to create the user 500 5,000 article pages. So in all the article pages, header and footer is the common content. So rather than creating header at the footer at the page level, so there is a drawback if you create at the page level. Okay, so there's a drawback if you create at the page level. So first drawback is so whenever you create a new article page, okay, so every article page, so there we have to add the header component and the every article page we have to add the header component and the footer component, and we have to configure the same container, email ID, phone number. Okay, so same content we have to configure all the 5,000 pages. In all the 5,000 pages, we have to configure the same content. So there is one more drawback with this. Okay, so there is one more drawback. Okay, so in future, if I try to change some, okay, so if so I want to change some email ID or the link I want to change it. Okay, so we have to update the mobile number. So again, in all the 5,000 pages, so we have to update the mobile number. So why? Because so we are configuring the page. We are configuring the page. Okay, so we are configuring the header at the page level. So that's why you have to do that. Okay. So article 2 page, okay, so I have to go here and then article 5,000. So I have to update the article 5,000. So in this page, we have to update all the 5,000 pages. This is one drawback. Okay, so this is one drawback. So which we are doing. So that's why it is not recommended to store at the page level if the content is common content for all the pages. So default content will be available in the structure node. So in the structure node, in the root, so define the header component and the footer component. Okay, so define at the template level structure node. Okay, so okay, so the first use case of the structure node at the template level is okay. So to define the common content. Okay, so to define the common content across the pages. Okay, so with the help of the common content across the pages, if you make any changes in this structure, so at that time the changes will be automatically available to all the pages which are all the already created pages. Okay, so by default all the structure node components are locked. Okay, so we can't edit the, okay, so the by default, all of these components are the locked. So that means we can't edit these header and footer and components when we add this header and footer components in the structure node. So these components cannot be editable. Okay, so when you open these pages, the header and footer will render, but you cannot edit it. Why? Because these two components are locked at the template level. By default, all the structure node components are the locked at the template level. Okay, so after that, so by default, changes will affect. Okay, so if you update this header, the changes will reflect in all the 5000 pages because all the 5000 pages are created by using the same template. So when you open this stage, the header and footer will generate from template. The source is only one. So when you open article 2, the same header and footer will render because we are using the same template for all the 5000 articles. Okay, when you configure the header and footer and the structure node of the template, the structure node component will render on the page. And if you make the changes in the header or the footer, so these changes will be reflected on all the 5000 pages. So this is more easy. So if you require any changes, so go to the structure node of the template and update the header. So it will return in all these 5000 pages. It will reflect in all the 5000 pages. It will reflect. So in all existing and new pages, also it will update. Okay. So in the by default, the structure nodes will be in the locked state, right? So when we unlock. Okay, so when we unlock the components, so by default, these components will move to the initial structure. So by default, all the structure node components are the locked components. But when you unlock them, so by default, they will be moved to the initial content. So there are two different types of contents are available. One is initial content and second one is the structured contents. Structured contents are the locked components and initial components are the unlocked components. So let's we implement the header and the footer and then we'll check the functionality. So I'm just going to implement a simple header and footer component. Okay, so I'm just going, I'll copy paste the hello world component and I'll upload the header and the footer component. Okay, so go to the December project, then we'll create the header component, paste. Okay, so update the link, header, header, and update the file name also. Okay, so now rename the file name. Why? Because whenever you execute this component, the same file name component will be executed. Okay, so in the dialog we have one component that is inside the H1. So here we have one component. So read the component that is the text component we are having. So text is the your name. Okay, so read that with the help of properties. Properties dot text is the component. So by default it has the text component. So backslash H1. Okay, so this is one property. So when you configure the text by using the dialog, this property will store inside this content. Okay, so this is one component. So copy paste the header and generate the footer. And then update this thing also. Okay, so update the file name also. So let's come here, rename from header to document. Okay. So and then update the title also. So in the dialog, so update the title also. JCR title is footer component and after the JCR title for the header also. So save the changes. So now I have created two different components and then I'm printing the text. Okay. So in the real time, you have to use a different HTML marker. Right now I'm using the same HTML marker. Okay. So go to the pages. Okay. So this is the template I have created. So by using this template, refresh it once. Okay. So add the header component. Okay. So by using the passive component, we can add the other components, right? So add the header component. So one important is, so don't unlock this top container. So this is one top container. So this by default, okay, so by default, this component is available for the structure mode. Okay, so don't unlock this component. Okay, so don't unlock this by default component. So it should be in the locked state only. Don't unlock it. So inside the container, I've added the header component. Okay, so open the dialog of the header component and configure some dummy text. Okay, so header, header text section. Okay, so header section is one dummy content we are adding. And inside the header, okay, so inside the container, I'm adding one more container. Okay, so this is the container. So and then outer container, add one more content called footer. And then configure the footer component. Okay, so in the section, okay, so in the structure node, so by default we have the root container. So with the help of the root container, so we have added the header component and the container component we have added, and then we have also added the footer component. So at present, this one is the node structure of the article template structure. So inside the root we have added the header, and again container we have added, again footer is added. So and then I open the header dialog and then configure the header section. Open the footer dialog and configure the footer section. And if you want to see this data, so go to CRXT and refresh your template. So under conf December settings and so on this conf December project. Okay. So just try to refresh. Okay. So inside the structure, just try to refresh this. So inside the JCR content and the root. So now these are the components I have added. Okay. So I have container mode, container content mode is generated. Footer is also content mode only. So click on header. Okay, so this is the property we have configured by using the dialog. Okay, so header section and then string resource type property, it is pointing towards the header component in my project. And then container and then footer. So these content three content modes are generated in the structure component. Okay, so let's create a pages. Okay, by using these templates. So any questions in structure and configurations? Okay, so there are three components I have added. So header, container, and the footer inside the root container. The same node structure is generated inside the article template structure JSR content row. Okay, so go to the sites console and create article one and article two pages. Okay, so go to the sites console and then create the pages. So USEM, click on create page, and then so inside the so try to refresh it. So by default, the template will be available for so for content refresh it. Then December project use email and then click on create a page. So adaptive from template and December template they are on so use click on create page. So these are so here it is only rendering these two pages. Okay, so these two templates only it is rendering. So in order to render our template, so go to the CRXT and then go to the template types and then article template is the one which we have created. So just copy the path of this article template and then go to the sites console. Try to refresh. So inside the December project we are creating. So inside the settings December project we are creating and then go to the sites console. Click on US and then click on edit. So not edit. So click on the properties. So inside these properties, so here we have the options of advanced. So inside the advanced, so here we have the options of allowed templates. Okay, so paste your template type. So paste your template properties that is font, December project settings, WCM, template types, and article template is my page. So whenever you are adding the template, okay, so at the last you have to add this particular thing. So at the time it will include all these subnodes in this particular template. Okay, so just click on save and close. So here you will give the permission to the template level. Okay, so here you will give the permission to the project to add this template to create the pages. Just click on save and close. Right. So go to advanced, try to check. No, this not about controls. Go to the article templates. Here is to the template, the template path. Okay. That's the product settings, WCM, templates, and article templates. Okay. So, so happy. Start what you said. December, since December, article template is for this to be disabled, then another level. I think edit this. So this is under what we are going to do. So just go here, try to replace this one. So article template initial or structure. Check the structure, JC content, header, footer, and the container URL. So save on, then we go to the page properties, site content, yes, then print the page. So this is the so that should be so we also this. So the simplest is keep on the tightness is so different templates structure which is a people can better confidence of responses that it's like a different template. So the structure is a so for this something also express. So security include is this with a you are doing. So this stuff so so this is not this on the page cancel. property, the remarks, the everything is the remarks. So this is about the page. So now this so this page. So have to put the options in the proper ones. Look, there's the so, so this properties advanced templates slash slash. Okay. So now it is working the page structure right now. So create now. So inside here, so just click on create a page and select the template. Okay, so once you select the template, so just create one page here. So by using the article template, create one page. This is a newly created template. Okay, so by using the article template type, so inside the article template type, so we have configured the header container and the footer and create a new page by selecting this template. Okay, so just click on next and then give the page numbers. Article one. Click on create and click on done. Okay, so the new page has been created inside the content December. Okay, so this is a different location. The page has been created. Okay, so inside the content December project, the page has been created. So just go to the content and then December project, try to refresh it. So this is the page I have created using this template. Okay, so inside the JCR content root container, there is no content inside. Okay, so inside the container, so there is no content. So but article 51, so open this page. Okay, so by using this page editor, so open this page. So once you open this page, use the page editor. So at that time, when you open this page, you are seeing the header section and the footer section, right? So the header and the footer section is configured at the template of the article. So article template is the so in the structure code of the article template, we have configured this header and the footer structure. Okay, so and then inspect the element and check the data. Okay, so inspect the element and check the data. So insert this overlay. So this is start within the two start. Yeah. Okay, so leave it. So okay, so we have the header section and then footer section, and then we'll have the container at the end. Okay, so header section and the footer section, it is rendering. So the components are rendered. So I'm not able to edit this component. Suppose this header or the footer or the container, I'm not able to edit because of by default all the components are the locked components, and these components we cannot edit from the page. Why? Because the components are locked at the template level. These three components are all operated at template level. When you open article 1, so we can't modify these three containers. Okay, so these three components we cannot modify from the page. Okay, but at least one content is required at the page level, right? So without the page holder, without the container level, so this is one article page. So without the so we aren't required. Okay, so we cannot configure the article one related content in the main body without the container. Okay, so we need to configure the container. Okay, so one container we need to configure to display the container at the page level. Go to the template editor, and then here we have the options of container. Okay, so inside this container, so here you have the options of unblock. Okay, so inside this unblock this middle container. Okay, so unlock this middle container. Okay, so now inside this middle container, so now it is showing the components. So go there and try to refresh the page. So now we can see the content. So now we can see this container, but still here we are not able to edit the header and the footer. Why? Because this header and footer are still really stocked at the template level. Why? Because so we should not unlock the header and the footer section. Why? Because so these are the common content. Okay, so inside the article one, okay, so inside the article one, so I'm adding one breadcrumb component. Okay, so and then I'll add one title component. One title component will add. So and then I'll also so I have added these two components. Okay, so when you add these two components inside this container, automatically three different content nodes will be generated inside the article one. So go to the content and then go to the page. So JCR root and refresh it here. So JCR container root, okay, container. So this is a default behavior. So whenever you create a component in the page editor, okay, so in the page the content node will generate. So when you edit the template, inside the template, the content node will generate. Inside the template, the content nodes will be generated. But when you open this page, so total five different components are displaying, right? So when you open this article one page, so first header is rendering, and second container it is rendering inside the container, and then breadcrumb and title article detail components are rendering. Okay, so but these three are the page level. Okay, these two are the page level, that is our breadcrumb and the title are the page level components, and header and the footer are the template level. Okay, so this is the execution flow when you are creating a project. Okay, so this is the execution flow. So in the JCR repository, okay, okay, so this is the execution flow. In the JCR repository, content is stored in the two levels. One is template level. Okay, so conf news portal settings WCM templates and article hyphen template is the template. Okay, so in the structure, JCR content, so header container fruit and footer is available. Okay, so these are available at the template level. Okay, so the content is available at the template level here. Okay, so this container is not available, so remove this container. Okay, header, container, and footer are available at the template level structure components. And if you go to this article one, so in the article one, let's we are assume we are having breadcrumb article details and the title. And the entire content is stored at the two level. One is template level, and second one is the page level. Template level content is a common content, and page level content is a space specific content, and page level content is a space specific content. So entire flow is also very important. Okay, so templates will store the content in the two levels. So one is page level and the other one is a template level. When you open the page in the browser, okay, when you open the browser, when you open the page in the browser, so when using this one article 1.html file, the execution start called template level structure node. Okay, so the execution will start from template level structure node. So that's why the header component is displayed on the form. Okay, so this is the view with the browser. Okay, so left one is the JSR repository view. Okay, so left one is the JSR repository view, but when you access the page from the browser, the execution will start from the template level structure node component. Okay, so it will execute the JSR container, it will contain the root and then header at the container. Okay, so header will be displayed above and then container is executed. Okay, so but container will execute. Unfortunately, we have unlocked this container. Okay, so when you if there is unlocked component, okay, so the request will go me the request will automatically go to the page level. Okay, so page level in the same hierarchy. So container is available. So the same hierarchy. So the same content node structure is available. So JCR root container. From this container, it will execute this content nodes. It will execute the breadcrumb content node, article details content node, and title content node. It will execute and it will render the content because one unlocked content is required. So that's why you have to use this. So when executing the unlocked component, so we have to accessing the content at the page level. Why? Because we are acting in the article one page. So inside the page level, it will execute the breadcrumb, article details, and the title components. So that's why these three are rendering. And again, it will directly go back to the structure node and it will execute the footer. So in the page header, we can so in the page, we can see the template level components in the page level components we are. Okay, so how to add the how to add the page, how to identify the template level content and the page level content in the page editor. So this header and the footer. So how to identify at the template level component and the page level component by using the page editor means, okay. So this header component, so basically template level content will not unable to edit. Okay. So if you are not able to edit any component means, so that is rendering from template. Okay, that is rendering from template. So header we can't edit, footer also we cannot edit. So why? Because these two components are rendering from the template level. But remaining breadcrumb and article details and the title components we can edit. So these three components we can edit. Why? Because these three components are rendering from the page level. Okay, the same thing will happen in the article 2 also. So when you open the article page, the same way it will also execute. Why? Because article 2 is also created using the template. Template will execute, temp container will execute. So while executing the container, it will go to the article 2 page. Why? Because we are using the article 2 page. So when you are using the article 2 page, so it will render the container of the article. So it will render this container from the article 2 page. But header and the footer will be rendered from the template level. So for all the 5,000 pages, the same header and the footer pages will be executed. Why? Because 5,000 pages are created using the same template. So that's why same header and the same footer will execute when you open all the 5,000 article pages. So now if I make the changes in the header, so if I, okay, so okay, so if I make the changes in the header, if I make the changes in the header and the footer, we cannot make any changes in the page level. Okay, so we can't, okay, so we can't update the header and the footer at the page level. So in order to update the header and the footer at the page, in order to update the header and the footer, so you have to update in the template level. So once you update in the template level, so the changes will be updated in the all the pages. So by using the header, the changes will store in the template level. The template level changes will be available on the header. Okay, so let me create one more page. So let me create one more page. So by using the same template, so by using one template, we can create n number of pages. Open the article one page, and then we are in the edit mode. So same header and the same footer is displaying, but under the JCR container and the article 2, there is no content. Why? Because this is newly created page. There is no page inside. There is no content inside the article 2 page. Let's try to refresh. Okay. So there is no content inside the article to that's why it is not displaying the content. Okay, but if I update the template, okay, so go to the template editor. So this is the template editor. So this is the template editor. If you update this template, if you update the header section 2.0, template level I'm updating. So footer section, okay. So the changes will be updated in every page. Okay, so the changes will be updated in the newly pages and the already created pages also. The changes will be updated. Okay, so now the changes is updated here. So article 2.0 and so header 2.0 and footer 2.0. So when you open the article 1 and article 2 pages, so the same header and the same footer will be executed from the template. So that's why when you make the changes in the header and the footer, the changes will be reflected in all the existing pages. All the existing pages, the changes will be reflected. When you open a page from the browser, the execution always starts from the browser. Why? Because this is a common content. Okay, so why? Because so this will be the common content, and the execution will always start from the common content only. Okay, so after it will go to the page level, and then after it will execute the page level content also it will execute. So this is the structured mode of the template. Okay, so that is about the structured mode of the template. So this is how internally it will execute. So any questions on the structured node of the template? Yeah. So in the initial mode, one component is available. Okay. So if I go into the initial node page, so in the initial node page, only one component will be available. Okay. So in the initial node page, one component is available. When you unlock a component in the structured component, okay, so it will automatically go to the initial content. Okay. The purpose of the initial content is to add the default content while creating the new pages. To add the default content, while creating the new pages. So for example, the main content I want to add the article detail component and breadcrumb component and title component I want to add for every article page. For every article page, these components are required, but the content is different. So once you create the page, you add the three components and then you add a different content on on the different pages. Okay, but these three components are required in every page. Okay, so rather creating the page manually and adding the three components manually again, we can define these three components at the initial content of the page. Okay, in the initial mode of the template, we can define. So the best example, when you create article 2, so at the time there is no default content available. Okay, so I'm accepting. So defaultly when you are creating a page, so article component and breadcrumb component, so these components should be available at the page level. So in that case, so go to the initial content of the template and add the components here. So add the breadcrumb component and add the title component and add the text component also. So three components I have added inside here. Okay, so the same thing will happen. The content world will generate in the initial mode of the template. Okay, so go to the template level. Okay, so this is on. Okay, so inside the initial content, so try to refresh it. Because you go to the container. So this entire node structure will create at the page level while creating the page by using this template. So by using this template, remember in the article 2, there is no page level content. So let me create one more page called article 3. Speech. Okay, so when I open this page, so at the time it is something breadcrumb component. So by default, breadcrumb component, article dictate text component, and the title component have been added to the page level. So by default, these components are added to the page level. So I've just created the article D. I have did not added the breadcrumb component and the title component, the text component. By these three components are available. So go to the CRXT and refresh the page here. So refresh. So JCR content. Okay, okay, so so now the breadcrumb node, title node, and the text node have been added. So initial content node is nothing but the default content of the page. So these content will be added at the time of page creation. Okay, so in the initial content, let's just assume that. Okay, so let's assume that we have added the breadcrumb component and the banner component in the initial content. Okay, so in the initial content of the page, I have added. Okay, so in the initial content of the template we have added. So once you have added this breadcrumb component and the branded component, so create a page called article 1. So by default, these components will be added at the page level. Okay, so because this is the default content, initial content is nothing but the default content. The default content will add to the page level at the time of page creation only. At the time of page creation, the initial content will execute at the time of page creation. So let's say if I am creating a page using the article template, all this initial content data. Okay, so all the initial content, this data will be copy paste from the template level to the page level. So the same structure is available at the page level also. Okay, the same structure at the available at the page level also. So the initial content is nothing but the default content of the page at the time of page creation. The entire initial content from move to the page content. Okay, so page level it will move from template level to page level. Suppose if I open this page, so the bread component of the banner component of the page level components. Okay, so these two components are the page level components and it is similar to the offers. Okay, let's say we have to buy a bike, so there is a 10% discount and you are eligible for the 10% discount because your bike is a new bike. You are buying a new bike and you will avail 10% discount at the time of buying your product. So at the time there is a 10% discount and you are available for the 10% discount. So once you bought the bike, after a couple of months the discount has been increased to 10% to 15%. So this 15% offer is applicable only for the new buyers only, not for the existing buyers. The modification is only applicable for the new buyers only because the offers will be only applied to who will buy at the time of buy products only. So similarly, initial content only will also at the so similarly the initial content will be updated at the time of page creation only. Okay, so at the time of page creation only it will be updated. So whatever the initial content is available at the page level, So whatever the content that is available in the template level, so it will be updated to the page level. So simply copy paste to the page level. So once article 1 is created, now I'm making some changes in the initial content. Okay, so instead of banner, I'm using the breadcrumb and the article details. So I've made some changes in the initial content of the template. These changes will not applicable to the existing pages. Okay, the changes will not applicable for the 18 already existing pages because already page is created. Okay, the changes will not apply at the already existing pages. So once you create a new page called article 2, okay, so the changes will be applicable in the article 2. Why? Because initial content will copy paste from template level to page level, and only at the time of page creation. Only at the time of page creation it is applicable. Okay, so any questions with the initial content? So once the page is created, it won't maintain any relationship with the initial content. So if you make the changes in the initial content, the changes will not reflect to the existing pages. It is similar to the offers. The offers is applicable only for the new buyers, not to the existing buyers. Okay, so if you have already bought the product, the the offer is not applicable for the existing purpose. Only the new customers will avail the 10% discount. So this is the initial content of the template. Okay, so initial content is nothing but the default content of the template. So any doubts in the templates? So this is one-time activity. So this activity will execute only at the time of page creation only. So by using the templates, so we can easily create by using the templates, we can easily create a page in AM. Suppose if you want to manually create a page in AM, so at that time here you have to come and then here you have to make all these notes. Like you have to create one page note, and then after the page note you have to manually create the JCR content. Okay, so by using this also we can create, but it takes a lot of time. But when you are using the template, so at that time you can easily create a page in AM with the help of the templates. Okay, so that is about the templates in AM.